100%. Yo, what's up everyone? V-Sips, welcome to the channel. Here we are with a video that's been long awaited, but it's finally here. Better late than never. I beat 100 games in 2025. Yes, last year I surpassed my goal of 88 games and actually reached 100 towards the end of December of 2025. We're gonna go over the remainder of the games that I beat in the year, and if you guys are excited, make sure you hit the like button if you haven't already. If you've been enjoying the series, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell to never single upload or live stream here on the main V-Sips channel. And we also got tons of perks and emotes and more that you can earn by being a member of our community by hitting that join button. Join the 100% click today. However, we got a lot to talk about, so we're gonna get right into the games I beat in 2025, how I reached 100 games beat in the year that just passed. Let's go. Starting off with a game called Sutte Hakkun. I've played it on stream, and it's actually a game that was on the Super Nintendo NSO library, and I played it a while ago, back in August at this point, and I thought it was really cool and interesting. It is a game that's only in Japanese, but I got myself wrapped in a rabbit hole. I got engrossed in dozens of mind-shattering and creative puzzles that you had to platform across with this really cool paint gimmick where you change platforms with paint, and the paint is either red, yellow, or blue, which makes the platforms go either up or down, left or right, or diagonal in order to make it to the end of each level. What's really cool though is even though the game is in only Japanese, there is a comprehensive tutorial section the game gives you right at the start of the game. So as long as you just do the tutorial section, you'll understand the game without knowing Japanese. I promise. It was really easy and seamless, and it was a lot of fun. The art style was great. The music wasn't even anything super incredible, but it was nice though. It fit the vibe. It was really charming, to say the least, overall as a package. Sutte Hakkun is something you should definitely give a chance on the Super Nintendo NSO. Next, we have No Sleep for Kaname Date, aka AI Lasagna Files 1.5. It's a prequel of the second game, a sequel of the first game, and actually has gameplay elements that are reminiscent of the Zero Escape series, alongside the intricate Somnium puzzles that you know and love from the AI Lasagna Files series. And for those who know me, you know I've loved the series for so long. Hell, I've had merch that has me as the main protagonist with Aiba, one of the characters. I love the series, I love the games, and I really enjoyed my time with No Sleep for Kaname Date. No Sleep for Kaname Date overall was still a great experience within the AI Lasagna Files series that I'll never forget, and I'm excited for the third game that hopefully will be coming out sometime soon, and it'll hopefully be the epic conclusion to the entire AI Lasagna Files series that we all would be looking forward to and love. And if you haven't gotten into the series yet, probably missing out. If you love mystery games, adventure games, you need to try AI Lasagna Files, that's for sure. Next, we have Sonic the Fighters. Sonic the Fighters is actually a really cool 3D fighting game. Yes, it's more reminiscent of like a Tekken or Virtual Fighter over like a Dragon Ball Fighters or something like that. And for me, I actually played a fan game called Sonic Smackdown, which is more reminiscent of like a 2D game like Dragon Ball Fighters. And Sonic Smackdown was a lot of fun. And Sonic the Fighters, which is made by Sega themselves, was pretty cool too. There was some cool characters. Of course, Sonic's in the game, but I enjoyed playing as Fang the Sniper too. He had a really cool moveset and gameplay style. And of course, you have to make your way to the end of the arcade mode, play through multiple fights, so you claim the Chaos Emerald. I thought it was really cool and really fun. I thought the cool part about facing the copy of your character in the arcade mode was a lot of fun. And of course, facing Metal Sonic and then Dr. Eggman to end off the tournament for all the emeralds was pretty fun. But it was a decent fighting game. It wasn't super memorable when it comes to the soundtrack, but it definitely was charming and reminiscent of that era of Sonic the Hedgehog. Next, we have Splatoon 2 Octo expansion. For those who know, I'm not the biggest Splatoon fan. What I am a fan of though is like the lore and like the story portions, like that stuff of Splatoon, and like the campaigns. I actually enjoyed that the most. And for me, Splatoon 2's Octo expansion, I got to experience it for free from the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack, and it was great. You got to go alongside Captain Cuttlefish through the underground that was abandoned. You go through all these different train lines, experiencing all these different sections where you had to complete various areas, and I thought it was really cool. I did feel some parts of the gameplay still felt clunky personally when it comes to the movement. I know some people just are schmoving in that game. For me, I'm just still kind of crusty at that game. So for me, I was having some trouble with some of the harder levels. But it was really great right after you collected all 4 of the things in the end game of Octo expansion, and I thought the end was really cool, and I'm super excited for Splatoon Raiders. It's actually one of the more anticipated games for the Switch 2 in 2026 if it drops this year, and I thought Splatoon 2's Octo expansion was pretty good, all things considered. Next, we have Kirby Star Cross World, the expansion to Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Now, before I go further, I want to say it is a $20 expansion. There's been a lot of $20 expansions on the Switch 2. This one is better than most of the other ones that we've had so far, especially compared to something like Jamboree's expansion. But I think this could have been a $15 expansion, mainly because a lot of the new content is basically stuff that was newly implemented into levels that were part of the base game. And then it was the end of the game that had the real new content related to Star-Crossed World. So I think it could have been a $15 expansion, but this was still a lot of fun. You got to play visually in 4K 60 frames per second on the Switch 2, and I thought overall was still a really great expansion for the base game. And for me, I actually just beaten Kirby Forgotten Land about a year ago, so getting to go back to it so soon was really nice, especially in this new fidelity that the Switch 2 offers. And I thought it was really cool collecting all the Waddle Dees, and of course now collecting the Starries. I barely died in this game, but that final boss in Star-Crossed World gave me a bit of a whooping. It was a great challenge. It was a lot of fun. I thought it was another epic 3D platforming experience, and I'm excited for the next Kirby 3D platformer. And y'all should be too if y'all experienced Forgotten Land or Star-Crossed World. It was a great time. Next is Metroid Dread. I bought Metroid Dread day 1, and I beat half the game the first day I played it, and I streamed it, and I put it in the backlog, not intentionally. It just, life happened, other games happened, things happened, and then I just came back to it late last year, and I loved the rest of Metroid Dread. Obviously, I enjoyed what I played originally too, and for those who know, I've been a fan of Metroid and Metroid Prime for a long time, and when it comes to the 2D Metroid games, Zero Mission and Fusion were always my favorites, and I really enjoyed my time with Dread. I loved some of the callbacks that were here, and I really thought the story was really great, with Ravenbeak being the antagonist, having everything take place on Planet ZDR, and learning more about the X-Parasites, and just seeing how everything took place was really sick. And man, we'll get to Prime 4 later in the video, but this was so much fun, and if you haven't already, check it out. And on Switch 2, it does visually and audibly look better, in my opinion, so give it a go. Next, we have Dragon Ball Gekishin SQUADRA. I was in the closed alpha test as well as the open beta for Dragon Ball Gekishin SQUADRA, and originally it was called Dragon Ball Project Multi back then, and I've loved my time with the game. I do wish I've played more of it since the time I put about 20 hours into it at this point altogether. But man, SQUADRA was a lot of fun. I really loved playing as Zamasu and Vegeta specifically. The tanks were one of my favorite archetypes, and it was such a great time playing as them, most specifically. And they have so many other characters in the game. They have Baby from GT, they have Cell, they have Hit, Gamma 1 and 2, pretty much characters from any of the games, any of the series, any of the animes of Dragon Ball have the potential to be in SQUADRA. And the game's getting tons of DLC pretty often too, so it's definitely a game worth going back to. So I definitely probably am going to be going back soon myself. I know a lot of my homies have been playing it recently as well. So Gekishin SQUADRA, another great Dragon Ball game to add to the pantheon of Dragon Ball games that have already been existing for more than 5 to 10 years at a time, like Kakarot and Fighters and Xenoverse 2, and we could just keep going on and on with the games that have been out for so long and just are doing great. Sparking Zero, what the hell happened? Next we got Shinobi Art of Vengeance. Sega was on one with this, and this was created by the team who made Streets of Rage 4, and the art for this game is some of the best art I've seen all year in a video game in 2025. And let me just say this. Shinobi Art of Vengeance is my second favorite game that was a new release in 2025. That's how good Shinobi Art of Vengeance is. And wow, I'm truly indoctrinated into the Oboro clan now. I was never really that crazy into Shinobi at all. I even tried one of the Shinobi games on, I think it was Sega Genesis Classics on Switch NSO. I tried one and I just wasn't feeling it. This game is nothing like any other Shinobi game before, and it's genuinely an amazing 2D action platformer that you cannot miss. And don't get it twisted. Around the same time this came out, Ninja Gaiden Ragebound came out. And I, as of 2026, played and beat Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. It is a great game in itself. It's not better than Shinobi Art of Vengeance, and I've seen many people's top 10s for 2025, including prolific content creators too, and reviewers. Shinobi Art of Vengeance is consistently in a higher placement than Ninja Gaiden Ragebound in all of these lists. So, Shinobi Art of Vengeance, do not sleep. It's literally one of the best games I ever played, exploring all of these levels with the amazing art style they have, as well as the incredible hand-drawn aesthetic that every single world offers. And they're so varied and unique. Every single area does not look like the last, and they all feel tied together so cohesively as a world. And it looks so incredible playing in 4K 60 frames as well. It's so fluid with the gameplay, and the music is really good too. The boss battles are incredible. For me, this was a game of the year caliber game, and I was incredibly hooked throughout my entire time playing this game till the very end. Do not sleep. This was one of the best games of 2025. Shinobi Art of Vengeance, easily one of the best games for me for 2025. Next, we have Like a Dragon, Man Who Erased His Name. It's one of the only Yakuza Like a Dragon games I actually never got to beat, never got to play, and I just played and beat it late last year in 2025. And it was a fun return to form for the core gameplay of Yakuza, while adding some more elements like an extra layer. The agent fighting style, it's basically your new ability style that you gain while being a part of the Dadoji. Essentially, you're a secret agent now because, not to get into spoilers, your new name is Joryu. Let's just say Kiryu is dead. So, not to get into any story stuff. The game was a lot of fun. It did feel a bit of a drag around chapter 3 for me, just because going up to level 10, you had to go and like do a lot of monotonous stuff, repetitive stuff for like a good hour before you reach level 10. But once you reach level 10, it's back to the really fun Yakuza gameplay you know and love in Like a Dragon series. I thought the game was great, and the story brought me to genuine tears at the end. It literally broke me, and you cannot miss this game if you're a fan of Yakuza or Like a Dragon as a whole. Do not sleep on the Man Who Erased His Name. Next up is Super Mario Galaxy 63. It's a modded ROM hack of Super Mario Galaxy 2. And it's really cool because it actually released around the same time as the Galaxy 1 and 2 dual pack that released on the Switch 2. And I accelerated Super Mario Galaxy 63 up to the top of my backlog to play it around that same time, and it did not disappoint. I had a blast with this Galaxy 2 ROM hack. It's one of the first of its kind, and it recreated the famous fan game from Newgrounds, Super Mario 63. That's what this is, but in Galaxy form levels. Peak. If you play that fan game, you would love this ROM mod of Galaxy 2 as Super Mario Galaxy 63, combining elements of the 3D Mario games, some Sunshine elements, 64 elements, and Galaxy elements, all within Mario 63. It just was peak. It was so much fun, and Alex SMG and all who were involved creating this ROM hack put their best effort in putting homage to the original creator of Super Mario 63. And it exceeded my expectations, and it was definitely a game and a ROM hack that you should not miss if you're a fan of mods and ROM hacks in the 3D platforming scene, especially for Mario. Definitely check out Super Mario 63 down already. Next up is another fan game, Super Mario Bros. Remastered. It's something that people have experienced during the 40th anniversary of Super Mario, and not by Nintendo themselves. The fans did it themselves. You'd think Nintendo would have made this, but nope. They couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. They probably would do it for $70 or $80, but man. This remaster is not just the original Super Mario Bros. Game, but also the second Mario Bros., the Lost Levels, as well as a special edition of Super Mario Bros. And a really cool game, All Night Nightbomb, Super Mario Bros., which takes the concept of Super Mario Bros. And includes rankings when you beat each of the levels, along with a variety of gameplay changes that keeps it all fresh. And it feels so cool and not the same to the original Mario Bros. At all prior to this remaster. You can even create custom levels and play them in this remaster, which is really cool. And there's even an online element too, where you can connect and upload the levels. It's so cool. There's so much replayability here, and it isn't as easy to make the levels as Mario Maker 1 and 2, but it's still pretty streamlined. It's just a lot more intricate in comparison. Overall, they made the Lost Levels now actually enjoyable to go through and play. I went through all of the Mario games in this remaster and played through all of them. It was so much fun. If you love Mario, 2D Mario, especially the retro Mario games, please give this a go. And if you like the Mario Maker stuff too, give this a go. This is something they'd probably charge 70 or 80 on the Switch if Nintendo made it, but the fans made it and the fans killed it. Now this game here was one of the last games I beat before I took like a month break from gaming, not like intentionally, but I was abroad for like about 3.5 weeks right after I beat this game. This game is called Thank Goodness You're Here. And if you haven't noticed, all the games in a row, these last 5 games were 9 out of 10s. I genuinely was on a generational run. These were all genuinely amazing games, back to back to back to back to back. Thank Goodness You're Here is definitely an experience, to say the least. It's one of the most funniest games I played by far, and especially the funniest of 2025. It was an endearing experience with so much charm, and it reminded me of life. It goes by fast, and just like life, every day goes by quicker than the next. And some people who are in need of help, and sometimes you just gotta do your part. And the gameplay is just, for the most part, laughing, really great art you're looking at, decent platforming at best, a lot of jumping, a lot of slapping, a lot more slapping, a lot of slapping faces, a lot of slapping asses, a lot of slapping meat, and a lot more. But the experience this game brings is one of a kind. Feels like you're literally just playing an Adult Swim game that's not even made by Adult Swim, which is really crazy, but it was such a vivid game that I'll never forget. Next up is Pokemon Legends VA. Now, obviously for those who know, I've loved Pokemon ever since I was a kid. Yes, I'm extremely critical of Pokemon as a series because of that. Legends ZA still, in my opinion, should not be called Legends ZA. And now it shouldn't be called Legends ZA for more than one reason. 2 reasons now. The first reason doesn't take place in the past. No legends are being made in the present. That's not how legends work, especially compared to Arceus. Second, and the biggest falter of it all, the gimmick of the game, not the Mega Evolutions, the ZA, going from level Z to level A in the ranks. I don't give a fuck if I'm spoiling this, you made it this far into the video, is a fucking hack. It's bullshit. You're not going from Z to A, you go from like Z to fucking like V or S, and then you meet the guy Vinny in the game, you beat him, and he sends you up to fucking like rank F or D or something. Like what? You just skipped the whole alphabet. That's supposed to be the whole fucking gimmick of the game. Pokemon Legends ZA, make a name for yourself. I hate you, Game Freak. The Pokemon Company, you guys gotta do better. You make too much fucking money, you mother. The only things good about ZA are the new Mega Evolutions shiny hunting's actually good now, and that's about it. The gameplay loop was a lot more fun in Legends Arceus. I actually was more hooked into the story and the characters in that game compared to ZA, personally. However, why does this game even exist, bro? These could have done a Pokemon Z and just did it the right way, but nope. You just had to ruin it. You had to fucking ruin it. Like, it's not the worst Pokemon game in the Switch 2 generation, because BDSP and Sword and Shield exist, because if we're talking main lines. But man, ZA is definitely not top 3, that's for sure. Next is a game called Wreckfest. I actually had this game from like the moment I bought my PS5. Like, it was one of the first games I had. I booted it up, I played it, I uninstalled it and made room for more games. Sounds stupid, but there wasn't anyone playing multiplayer at the time, which is weird because like the game was pretty much still kind of new at the time, like a year or two old, and I thought people were playing on the PS5 version and no one was, even then, so I just dropped it. I then eventually went back to it years later at this point, and I went through the career mode, which is pretty fun. I went through all of the craziness of Wreckfest has to offer. Most specifically, the demolition derbies, which I found the most fun in Wreckfest. Overall, though, it does have a lot of gameplay reminiscent of Flat Out. Flat Out was a series that was around back in the day, and for me, it also made me reminisce about Burnout and Twisted Metal as I played. But it was a lot of fun. I thought the game overall was nothing amazing to write home about, but I did think that it was something that was good. I do hope Wreckfest 2 gets out of early access and is something that someone can like purchase or buy as a full release, and it's not like just as good as Wreckfest 1. Hopefully it's better, but we'll have to wait and see on that. Wreckfest 1 is a good game, but it's not great or amazing or phenomenal. It's just a decent to good collision-based racing game. Next is Chibi Robo. Played it on the Nintendo Switch NSO GameCube service for GameCube Classics, and I was extremely excited to finally give Chibi Robo a chance when they initially announced it for the service, and I actually was really into the game. From the overarching plot, which is really deep, all things considered, to the really refined gameplay loop that you'll be getting into in this game, you'll be pretty hooked pretty instantly. At least I was. Especially with the level design, for the way the setting took place. You are in a house and you're with a family and you become accustomed to everyone who's there, and you basically have this element that makes me at least reminisce of Toy Story. It's kind of like got that Toy Story vibe, like things are animated and live life when everyone's asleep or not around. I thought it was a lot of fun, and I think raising your rank to number 1 was probably one of the harder parts of the game, in the sense that it just felt like it took a while. It just really felt like it took a while. Now, the soundtrack of the game was pretty consistent. It just was a bit simple, and usually everything overall was pretty seamless, all things considered. As a package, was amazing. As a game, Chibi Robo really has a lot to offer. It's just a shame that this game was the peak of the series. It just was downhill after this. Next is GNOSIA. This is a game, for those who know, was very highly rated on the PlayStation Vita a long time ago, and that was one of the main reasons I was excited for the game when it was coming to the Switch back in the day, because it was only on the Vita back in the day, and another back in the day, ahead of time of that back in the day, it came out on the Switch 1 eventually, and I had a lot of fun with it. I did eventually drop the game, only because the way the gameplay is, you have to go through various loops of consistently interacting with the various characters, trying to find who is the GNOSIA, who is basically the enemy in like an Among Us style game. That's pretty much what this is to an extent, even though this game came out and released before Among Us. But there could be at times there's multiple GNOSIA you have to worry about, not just one. There is multiple different classes that get put into the mix, like doctors and engineers that get to change up how each loop unfolds. And I thought it was really cool, especially the times that you are the GNOSIA too, which happens once in a while as well. And once you reach the end of the game and hit credits, it's really cool ending. It was definitely worth it, at least for me. I worth recommending this game, especially if you're a fan of survival and visual novel games as well. Now we have Crash 4. Crash 4 on PS5 at its core is a true revival to the Crash formula. I thought it was a lot of fun playing as Crash, Choco, and Neo Cortex. The gameplay felt very snappy as all of them, and I thought the mainline stages as Crash and Choco were really designed well, really meticulously precision-based, and I didn't think that any of those levels lost the classic charm that the original games of the Crash series have had. I do want to say, playing as Tawna and Dingodile sucked. I was personally not a fan of playing as them, and I think having them integrated into the game was cool. I did, however, like that most of their levels, you didn't have to play them. Like, there's the few that you were forced to play, and then their levels were kind of like off the beaten path. But if you want to complete the game, you have to play those levels. And Crash 4 is definitely the type of platformer that wants you and expects you to complete this game. Not for me, I'm gonna be honest. Dingodile and Tawna's gameplay was not for me. Outside of that, Crash 4 was a really great time. Most 8 out of 10 platformer I ever played. But it was good. It was a good game. I just think it's a little bit overrated. I heard a lot of people praise it a bit too much, and for me, it's just an 8. Now we have Penny's Big Breakaway, and Penny's Big Breakaway, it's got very fluid gameplay motion as you're flipping and yo-yoing yourself all across all these levels and these various worlds that you're going through, where you're actually trying to platform and do all these smooth movements, which is really surprising. I really feel the art of the game, the way the world is, truly steals the spotlight of the core gameplay itself. Sounds crazy. I understand if you think that sounds crazy, but that's genuinely how I feel. I really feel like the platforming, if they make a new Penny's Big Breakaway, they have to really expand on that yo-yo gameplay. I personally felt it was too basic, and I was able to beat the game without going any crazy tricks or dipsy doodles or whatever the fucks, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't anything insane. Because some games, they can be just 7s or 8s out of 10s. They're just decent to good games. It happens. Not every game's gonna be a 8.5, a 9, or a 10. Some games you play, you make it to the end, and it's like, yup, that's decent, it's a 7. Yup, that's good, that's an 8. It is what it is. Next we got Choco Kiosk Simulator. Thanks to the developer for allowing me to play and showcase the game. And I'm usually someone who isn't that crazy into simulation type games. I am someone who is into chocolate bars and candy. So that was kind of like the main reason why I wanted to give this simulation game at least a try. Kind of seemed like a fun simulation type game that I would actually have an interest in, and it actually was something I got pretty hooked on. I even streamed some of it. And as you guys know by this point of the videos, I usually have some of the footage on these videos from my streams, and it may have been made in Unity, may have some rough edges, which is very noticeable, but I enjoyed my time with it. It was pretty consistent as a simulation game. I thought it may have seemed a bit bare bones, but like, you can do some customizations for your kiosk, upgrade it in various ways, and you can stock up on different types of chocolates and serve all kinds of customers. You just have to try and get their attention and stop them from walking past you and like convince them, like, eat my chocolate, eat my chocolate. It's like, finally, you're walking over to my kiosk. Thank you. It just took me 3 times of yelling at you in front of your face. But it was fun. It was fun while the time lasted until I made it to the end. Next is another indie game, but this indie game kind of blew me away. I was pretty shocked at how much I actually enjoyed it. It's called DIGGERGUN. DIGGERGUN is a game I also actually had streamed as well. I streamed it also. I got pretty hooked on it as well. It's one of those indie games that does feel strange at first. It slowly, however, unveils the true nature of the game. And it reminded me of games like SteamWorld Dig, while reminding me of games like Undertale. And fusing those 2 games into one is what DIGGERGUN is. And you're trying your best to get off the island that you're currently living on and inhabiting with other people who are currently also forced to live there. And you're working your hardest to try and collect these gems. And you're just trying your best to get your food and your water and your sleep as well. Like, it's a lot to it. It's actually really cool. And the blend of adventuring deeper for the gems and combining your daily decision making throughout your day into it as well, as if you're living a real life in the game, was really cool. I really liked how it felt. And it definitely is a sleeper indie gem of the year. That's what I like to say about it, the game DIGGERGUN. Sleeper indie gem of the year. A game that isn't amazing, it isn't good, it's great. You don't want to sleep on it. It's definitely a game that most people probably aren't talking about. It's not like some of the other indie games that I may have mentioned throughout my 2025 backlog list so far, like some of the more popular ones. This is a game most of you probably haven't heard of. You definitely should give it a chance. Go play DIGGERGUN and experience a game unlike many others. Next, we got Buckshot Roulette. Pretty short game, where if you're playing it for your first time before you hit credits, you can play multiplayer online, which is what the true extent of the game is after you play the small bit of single player stuff. However, the symbolism the game actually has spoke to me at length within that short playtime. I really felt what the game was trying to say. It did resonate with me, as crazy as it sounds, but you essentially are playing roulette with a shotgun. That's basically the game. You're playing roulette with a shotgun. Russian roulette, high stakes horror strategy, tabletop horror with a shotgun. You can either point it to your base or you can point it at your enemy. One or the other. That's what it is, just as a game. And I think there's definitely ways to increase the replayability, and multiplayer definitely has it. Fortunately, don't know that many people who have the multiplayer for the game. It would be fun to play with some people in the game. But yeah, it definitely was fun, even just as a short single player experience. I did end up getting the game when it was on sale during the Steam winter sale, so that's why I'm fine with the short playtime I had with it. I got it for a very, very affordable price. You know how Steam is, they have unfair prices. So yeah, definitely give Buckshot Roulette a chance, especially if you get it on a discount, if you're only going to play single player. But if you have a way to play multiplayer with friends, totally worth it at any price. Here now we got Nirvana on Steam. Yeah, I found this game online after I saw a YouTube video just going over like a ton of free games that you can download on Steam. And I thought this game looked pretty cool, so I gave it a chance. I downloaded it, I played it, and it's basically an action first-person shooter with some bullet hell elements to it too. You play as a character named Ari, who's a young hero, and you're in this mystical world with forgotten crypts, and you gotta face off these creatures to defeat this enemy called God Raj. This all happened within just like 30 minutes of playing the game. It's literally not that long of a game. It's got decent combat, it's got some strategy and reflex-driven encounters that you'll come across as you play it, but very short. It's nothing that crazy, and at least it was a free download. The 98th game I beat in 2025 is called Mitsurugi Kamui Hikae. Now, this is a game that's essentially an action fighter, a 3D action fighter, where you're fighting against waves and waves of enemies until you encounter the boss at the end. And it's got a bit of a story to it, where you're playing as a Blade Templar, whose name is Misa, and you're trying to save your friend, who's a high school student as well, named Suzuka, from the evil Demon Blade, which is powered by darkness. She succumbs to it, and you need to try and save her and essentially save the world. Of course, you gotta also save the world. And the sword eventually drains Suzuki's life force, and after Suzuki's life force is drained, not gonna get into too much spoilers, but you'll have to fight the final big enemy. And I thought the game was a lot of fun. It definitely came off as if it had a grand slew of combinations you can use within the combat, but there really isn't that much you can do. It is going to feel a bit repetitive with the combat you're going to play. A lot of the same combos time and time and time again just to get through every wave. Overall though, it's definitely a game that you're probably going to turn your brain off to. I'm still surprised, even after how many months, it's been like 2 months almost since I beat this game, I still remember that much of the game, even without even looking straight at my notes. So all things considered, definitely is a decent game, definitely above average, definitely better than Nirvana. Out of today's video, Nirvana is probably the weaker of the games I played in this portion of my 2025 backlog list. But Mitsurugi Kamui Hikae, not bad, definitely decent. If you get it on Steam Winter Sale, like I did with this game as well, definitely worth it for a cheap price. Now here we have the 99th game I beat in 2025, which I do want to preface with, it's similar to Mario Kart World. It's a Switch 2 game. I did originally give it a higher score at the time that I reviewed it, at the time I just beat the game. You know what I mean? And similar to Mario Kart World, my review score sometime later after release is personally lower than the original score. The original score was a 9 out of 10. Now I would probably give it an 8 out of 10. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond was a game I waited nearly 2 decades for since Metroid Prime 3 did experience. And a first-person action-adventure game, it's just a bygone era. First-person Metroidvania, it just hasn't been the same, hasn't been a thing. And we got Prime 4 Beyond, which brings back a lot of those original vibes. It does, to an extent, it does. The extent goes until that open world, man. That barren desert with barely anything to do, and having to collect all of those green crystals. And don't get it twisted, you've had to collect things to make it to the end game in prior Prime games. Don't get it twisted. I just feel like if we're trying to advance the series, we shouldn't be falling back on prior issues with Prime games, you know what I mean? And then adding more to it on top. Like the NPCs, I didn't have as much of a problem with them, truly. I genuinely didn't, until the end game of Prime 4 Beyond, which if you made it this far into the video, you can skip ahead if you don't want to be spoiled for the next minute. Skip ahead like a minute from right now. But man, why the fuck would Samus abandon all of the fucking Federation force that they befriended the whole time when they could have tried saving them? They give you an option to press a button to either escape or try and stay. And if you try and stay, you all just fucking die. It's a fake sense of choice. A fake sense of choice that I hated. It ruined the end game for me. The bosses were fun, don't get it twisted. Some of the worlds were very immersive. Miles sometimes just also didn't shut the fuck up too. So, I don't know. Viola, badass motorcycle, and Retro Studios was pretty much given shit and was told to make it look gold. And thankfully, Retro Studios with Prime 5 is going to create a game on their own from the ground up and not just be given Bandai Namco and Nintendo's leftovers. But I have faith in Prime 5. Just a shame that Prime 4 could have been phenomenal, amazing. But instead, it was just, for me, a good to great game. It could have been better. It definitely could have been better. But it's still good. Still good. And now, the 100th game I beat in 2025, late last year, was a game called Mario and Wario. I played it on the Switch 2, and it's a game you play with the mouse controls, which I love. More games that allow you to use mouse controls, even if it's like older games that use like the SNES mouse, that's still fine with me, especially if I've never played them before. And in this game, Mario and Wario, you actually play as a character named Wanda, who's a fairy who helps Mario, Yoshi, and or Peach, whichever one you want to play as, which all have different difficulty levels, basically, or should I say paces they run at, to platform along this various world that you come across with various different bucket hats you get put on your head from Wario. It's pretty funny, all the different bucket hats you get put on your head. And I don't mean like bucket hats like Schoolboy Q bucket hats. I mean like literal buckets put on Mario's head, or like a green shell or something, you know. But as a puzzle platformer, I had fun with it. It was very colorful. I love the artwork for the game, the sprite work. I, however, played Sutte Hakkun earlier this year, and I've played Maverick's Donkey Kong games before. This was not as good as those, but it was still pretty fun. Still a decent experience, and I recommend trying it if you want to play another game with mouse controls on the Switch 2. Mario and Wario is definitely worth it for that experience. And that finally wraps up all 100 games I beat in 2025. Now, 2026 is not going to have that many games because I know I'm going to be very busy with a lot of IRL stuff this year. The goal is 30 to 60 games for 2026, and I'm currently doing some pretty good progress already in the backlog for 2026, so I'm excited to show you more of that. I'm going to give you some quick stats of my 2025 backlog before we wrap up today's video. So I beat 100 games in 2025. The amount of hours in 2025 all of these games accumulated across these 4 videos was 1,244 hours of gameplay total on average to beat those games. The hours I played to beat all of these games in 2025 was 1,083 hours and 59 minutes to be exact. And the overall average score I gave to all the games in 2025, the average score across all the games, from the 9s to 10s, though there's only 110, the 7s, so on and so forth, was an 8.1 average score for all the games in 2025. Thank you all for keeping up with my backlog series. I will be keeping up with it in 2026 as well. Thank you all so much for your support on the series, from all the videos, even some of the streams that are part of the series, and more here on my main VSips channel. I do videos, live streams, gameplay, music, and more. So if you enjoy all that, hit the like button, consider subscribing to the channel, hit the notification bell to never miss any of that here on the main VSips channel, and please hit the join button to join our community, gain perks, emotes, enter our Discord, and tons more benefits provided for you as a 100% click member. Thank you all so much for your support. This has been VSips. I hope you enjoyed the video. These videos always take a long time to make for the backlog. So in the future, I am going to try to have backlog videos that have 10 to 15 games per video instead of having 25 games per video. That way you may be able to get more videos sooner as well, and that will be more content provided for you, and maybe me being a little more into detail into these games for all of you in these videos. So thank you all so much for watching. If you made it this far, my name is VSips, and I will see you all next time. Have yourselves a damn good one, everyone. Peace.
VSips on the beat.
You know we got it in the bag, sips and bricks too. You see us coming in the jag, you know we keep it 100 proof. No, we gotta keep it 100 real true. Ay, 100%, 100%, 100%, 100%, 100%, 100%. I always grind, 100%. I always rhyme, 100%. 100%. I always grind, 100%. Bricks are back anytime on the track. We never slack, we always on attack. We got the pack in the back of the lack. Beyond the jag, all black, no Kodak. Put your cardiac, my rhymes on my neck. It's sips brick season, this how we react. Days long, nights, use insomniac. Count each block in each rack that we both stack. Ay, 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. I always grind, 100%. I always rhyme, 100%. 100%. 100%. I always grind, 100%.